Yeah. Good morning, everyone. This is Sahar, and you're watching Rethink with Sahar. This is a platform where we rethink things, we rethink life, and we try to rethink our position in this world, our situation in this world. So today we are with Stefan Sczyrba. Welcome, Stephen. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Sahar. Thank you so much. I'm well, thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You're welcome. Stephen is an energy coach, energy healer, distant energy healer, and his journey began as a commercial pilot. That's right. So, would
I
you like?
actually, I had a near-death experience.
Oh,
Well, I
wow.
was doing a career as a commercial pilot for 2 years,
Hmm.
and then I made the decision stepping into it. Yes,
Would you like to talk more about it?
I certainly would. Yes. So, well, thank you for having me here. And I like the beginning of your intro where you said about rethinking.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Thank
add
you.
that. You're welcome. I'd like to add that to this. Uh, this didn't land on my lap. At one point I had survived several near-death experiences pursuing a career as a commercial pilot, and it came out from a lot of the negativity growing up. But I think for a lot of people, the culture and the family, they keep all that stuff quiet. The stuff
Mm,
stays in the family. No one says anything.
yes.
In my case, there was a lot of high expectations, and
Hmm.
what choked it out for me is the high expectations. I barely said anything for almost 20 years. And it's going to cost you this amount of money. And I was kind of choked by it. It's like, well, how do you expect me to do that? And so that was my initial experience. And then in my mid 30s, I got a couple of years flying down in the Toronto area.
Hmm.
And prior to that, I had a particular near death experience. I left the body. I went to the other side, and it came from a lot of unnecessary stress. It came from a lot of either resentment or like, geez Louise, this is a lot of work to get a piece of paper to say in the family, hey, we got somebody that's here as an officer, as a doctor, a lawyer, commercial
Hmm.
pilot. And it was an ultimatum with the universe. So that was a big lesson. That was a pivotal moment where I found out we're not as a human being, but we're here as a human soul.
Oh, wow.
Then I spent the next I put everything into that, and I walked away from it. And I met a gentleman here in Vancouver who assists with doing the healing work, and I had to work on me. So I had to gut everything out from me,
Wow.
and it took me several years. I took it to heart that the universe gave me as an ultimatum,
Hmm.
and as you're saying, to rethink, and for me it was to really reevaluate what on earth am I doing here? Like
Exactly.
what am I really doing here? Because when I had that was my fifth one. That one
Wow.
really stood out, and it came from a drive and a work ethic. And then at
Oh.
one point, I said, "This isn't working anymore." I put that to the side, and I started to
Mhm.
clean up all the emotional gunk that every one of us, we all have that thing called an
Oh,
emotional
of
knapsack.
course.
And
Yeah.
this is where I discovered that as I cleaned it up, then over a period of time, I started to open up a couple of my natural gifts. We all have something like that. I was just kind of like, I was hungry and I was driven, and I took a chance on it. And wow.
It's
So,
a different new world.
it was a whole other world. So, uh, it's like I'll use this here. It's like for so many years,
Hmm.
I was living this side here.
Wow. Full of
And
tension
I
and
found
all
out
that.
there's a whole other side of me here. And
Yeah.
I had no freaking clue.
Wow.
So that's
Nobody, yeah, nobody has that thing. The thing is, uh, the believers are the same. This is not about, I'm not talking about any religion as such, just
yeah, yeah,
believing in a soul and not believing in a something supernatural, or not even supernatural, but superior than
whatever you want to
human.
call it.
Whatever you want to call it. That's
Yes,
right.
yeah,
So there are believers and there are non believers.
yes,
Believers believe that. non-believers, I would say, they are like, okay, what are they doing? I mean, there's
Oh
nothing. This
yeah.
is human body, and this is all that that we have. But then believers know there is some other truth to it. So that truth may like I read a paper once that the all the spirituality is the creation of human brain. So there were experiments about it, and a lot of things went into it. Not me, but others had done it. So I believe in that, that it's our brain, but still to let the brain go into those depths where you can look at yourself as the other, your life as the other, as if somebody else, you're living somebody else's life. So that is something very, I would say, uh, I often lose words when I'm into these kind of talks. So that's very interesting and amazing. And so your journey began with the near death experiences, and then you had energy clearance.
Yes.
So, what does this energy clearance, the concept of energy clearance, look like? Like, mm, if I say I'm writing, I hold a pen and I would describe I'm making some designs on the paper legible enough to make some sense to the other
Okay.
person. So, what is the concept of energy healing? Is it something
Okay.
you, yeah,
Certainly. So, as I mentioned here, we're not as a human being, we're here as a human soul.
exactly.
And I'd like to really educate whoever's listening to this, because this is very, very key. I'm not talking about this for the sense of being on a podcast. I'm sharing something that there are certain cultures that bend over backwards or that almost break themselves to attain anything in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sharing something because for many cultures, the pride's a nasty, the feeling of pride's a nasty one. When I do the healing work, we're never here, as I said, we're as a human soul, meaning that when I showed up here, we all have a soul contract.
Exactly.
So there's a soul, we come from the universe. I like people to pause and put their analytical mind to the side, that when
Mm-hmm.
we leave here, this body that I'm in stays here, but the consciousness or the energy inside, it goes to the other side. So I found out that the soul put up a contract with the universe. So there's a binding contract with the soul, the universe. It's the soul that's keeping me alive. And
Mm.
if the soul doesn't like the choices or decisions that I'm making, it has 50% say to interrupt or to start interfering with my life, saying, hey, Stefan, it's time to wake up. And Stefan, it's time to grow up.
Yeah.
You come in here to do something else. Because for many people, they have no understanding. There's many cultures, they have it, but they're not aware of what makes things tick. In my case, I found out the soul put in well over 150 years of its time prior to me showing up here, maybe
Mm-hmm.
a little less with that. And when I started taking this seriously, not as a human
Mm-hmm.
understanding, but I took it from the universe that, wow, I'm given a second chance here. I put everything into it. So now to explain the healing part, it's not me. I facilitate the healing, but it's not me. So for any healer that says I do healing work, yes, I do it, but it's not come. It comes through me, but it's not me. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
There's an energy way up above that's way beyond us, more intelligent than me that's doing it, and that's coming from the soul. And normally, for all of us, we all have also 5 spiritual guides,
Okay.
and our spiritual guides are there technically almost at the same soul level, because every
Mm-hmm.
one of us, we think we have a soul, but some of us have a very small soul. Some of us have a medium or a spiritual type soul. Some of us are coming here for different experiences, whether I'll use it as an example here. We show up here, and what makes this planet very, very special is the feeling. Every culture can identify what love is,
Mm-hmm.
what joy, what bliss is, what
Mm-hmm.
anger, what is racism, hate.
Mm-hmm.
So when the soul asks for us to show up here, the soul's asking, can you do the soul a favor and can you show up in this lower physical dimensional energy? So there's a vast amount of energies out there. We show
Yeah.
up in the bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
That's going to be a tough pill for a lot of people to swallow. But if
I
people look
know.
around and they see with their eyes open,
Mm-hmm.
it is a cesspool, especially in certain parts, and it's everywhere. And the soul's asking, the soul cannot release the negative emotional energy of anger, hate, divorce, relationships, all that mental garbage, mental turmoil that we have up here. The soul's been stuck with us for many, many, many lifetimes. So for every one of us, as you and I are speaking here, we've had this conversation some other past lifetime. Now we're coming here to
Yeah.
bring it back up. But the thing is now, as I'm speaking about it, I've cleared it out for me. And my gift is to assist other people with going inside. It's an inside job, whatever's mirroring on the inside, and it's to
Mm-hmm.
clean up the lower emotional energies. The
Wow.
soul cannot release it on the spiritual side. So when we come down here, there's a lot on the line here. Most people completely miss the boat because by the time people are 67 or 80, they have 80 years of life experience. I'm sure deep down.
Another baggage.
And then like I get to go to heaven. I get to leave here. I have a couple more days. And I was like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
When we're physically here, this is the place where everything gets cleaned up. And I want to answer your question in the summary of it that I discovered this when I took a massive leap of faith with the universe. It gave me that opportunity, and I took it to heart with it. So
Mm-hmm.
at the moment I started to clear up all the emotional entanglements, like the stuff I felt choked about, wasn't expressing about, wasn't talking about. I
Mm-hmm.
think a lot of people can relate to it. Whatever's on one's chest, whatever they wish they could have told somebody, like tell somebody off, or whatever they've been resenting, because this is what gets people sick. When people get sick,
There's a blockage.
it's the emotional baggage, and it's
Yeah.
come from the soul, and the soul's putting the brakes on the person, saying it's time to wake up. And for some people, the soul may put them in the hospital for a month or two to say, hey, it's time to reevaluate one's life.
Mm.
So the healing, it came from me taking the ownership and the personal responsibility with going inside and cleaning up all the emotional entanglements. It's much like having a cord. Where are the
Oh,
initial chords and where are the initial triggers coming from?
yes.
When we show up from as a spiritual being into this physical world here,
Mm-hmm.
by the time we're 3 months in the fetus, the subconscious here starts to record everything, and it starts
Yes.
absorbing how's mom doing, how's dad doing,
Huh.
and the child is still attached to mom's soul. And for those, the first 3 months is to get things moving, and then the next 6 months it's thinking and processing. It records everything. So if you don't like your environment, if you don't like your parents, if you don't like what
So
you
those things
you
go
signed
into
up
you.
for it,
Yeah.
we all sign up for them because we came here for well-chosen experiences. And depending on the soul contract, for some people, they may be able to see this much. And others, they may be able to see 300 or 400% higher or 300 or 400% deeper of what's going on. But in stating that, be grateful with whatever you can handle, because some people are showing up here with a larger size soul contract. And for some
Mm-hmm.
people, it will make them or break them. I'm aware that's a lot of information with
Yeah,
that.
actually, I would like to. We're talking about soul contract right now, so I would like to. Uh, I mean, I have read a little bit about social contract theory. The individual and the government is here, but the soul contract, it's something new to me,
Okay.
and I would want to know. Like, what are the parties in it? What the contract is like? What should we do to follow that?
Okay. That's an excellent question. The universe, there's beings from the other side in the universe. They're very smart. Despite what human people may think, there is an intelligence, though the universe operates in frequency, energies, and vibrations. And I mentioned earlier, we're all living in a physical, 3D emotional world. Now, the soul, it chooses a well-chosen date of birth and a person's name.
Oh.
So this is where I start calculating. It's initially to have a bit of a template of who is this person, because everything has a vibration. So when you speak your name of Sahar, there's certain vibrations in with that name. So if we take a look and say, does this work for you? Can we do your first name as an
Yeah,
example?
go. Actually, I was born in Ramandeep. I added Sahar a little while ago, a few years ago.
Okay.
So you can do either on Raman or you can do it on Sahar.
Where did you wish to go with your date of birth?
7781.
1977?
7 July 7.
Oh, good. Okay.
81. I don't know if I should be saying this online.
Okay. Well, it's well protected here.
Yeah.
July 7th. So this is an indicator. The lady I'm speaking to here. So let's add this up here. So we got a 14, 1981, 10, and 19. So we got 19 and 14. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
1981, 10, 18, and 19. That's 26. 26 and 7. Okay. This call was meant to be then.
Oh.
Your destiny is as a 33-6.
What does that mean?
Okay. Sahar is coming here to do what I'm doing.
Oh, really? I feel that thing in me sometimes. But then I do help others. I do help others. But I stop myself short of the spiritual healing. I feel like I cannot do it.
You can look, you're talking to a guy, I never thought I'd be able to do it.
Oh,
So
thank you.
you're welcome. I like to share something because I mentioned on the call here, there's a lot of souls here. We have all 7 to 8 billion people here, but there's not too many with this type of a destiny. This 33-6 type destiny, you're meant to be as a teacher of all teachers. You can be a phenomenally gifted spiritual doctor.
Oh, wow.
You can be a very strong medium, a very strong psychic with this.
Okay.
The most important ingredient is you got to be happy with whatever you're doing.
Oh,
The
yes.
happiness that you express with things. Because you
Yeah.
may be great with the surface talk, but it's what was not said underneath of it. And it could have been as simple as one word from childhood that way that wasn't expressed, either with the fear of the unknown or being fearful in general. And from that one thing, this is what I'm saying with from the beginning of the call there, we do go through, well, I'll add to it, we all go through an emotional experience. The soul's aware that when we show up here, at one point there is going to be, especially with this type of a destiny, that we are at one point going to have an emotional experience, but the soul's asking, please do not be stuck by it.
Yes.
Every one of us, we come here with suitcases full of spiritual insight and gifts. So it's not like we ever show up here empty-handed. This is key with it. This is very, very key. And for some, they either may be, I'll generalize here. When I stepped into it, there was a fear of either speaking, the fear of being persecuted, the fear of speaking out publicly about this. I had at one point, it was the feeling, because everyone can identify to the feeling. For me, the feeling was not good enough.
Okay.
So these were things that one incident from childhood, if it's not dealt with, and if a person consumed by it, then they wind up overextending that for 10, 20, 50, or 60 years of their life.
And even 60 million years of life.
And that's not a joke, because
yeah, I'm saying it seriously.
Lifetimes. So
this
lifetime, I made a full decision. I'll do whatever it takes to close out everything. And that's exactly what I said. There's everything. Look, with what you're coming here with, you're a very, very gifted lady. You're not going to need the college or the university. You have an unbelievable amount of gifts. You have more gifts than the average person. You're super loaded. The thing of it is, how strong is your trust inside of you, the trust in the universe? And it could be something either the fear of failure or the fear of success,
Mm-hmm.
or overanalyzing anything.
Okay.
You ask yourself back from childhood, who gave you that, maybe that feeling of the trust, the mistrust, or the abuse of trust? Meditation for you
Mm.
is your biggest asset. When you
Yeah.
find a place and you feel good with it, run with it for a bit. Connect with your spiritual guides, and you can be an unstoppable powerhouse, especially now because we're no longer in this physical, we are in a physical world, but for
Uh-huh.
those who decide to awaken, and it doesn't take a lifetime doing this.
Okay.
It takes the guts and takes a decision. Your soul, as I said, is always watching us. It's the soul that's keeping us alive here. It will go out of its way to assist a person when they say, okay, this person's now ready to honor the soul contract. The soul, and we also have our spiritual guides, they will do whatever they can to help us along the way. As I said, like, we're never here on our own. It's something you earn. It's not like going to school for taking a 4-year program and you graduate after the
Oh
first
yeah.
week. Uh,
It's a development that comes from, from smallest point to the higher and higher it goes up.
that's it.
Yeah. And I lost my question. Okay, tell me one thing. Uh, what does the this is where I'm also very much curious about it. People talk about the other side, and you have also been saying about the other side, talking about the other side. So I want to ask you what this looks like, but how it feels like.
What does it look like? And
Feels like.
oh
How do you
God.
feel?
Okay. Would you like the? This is going to be the raw. This is going to be the raw truth from me.
Okay.
There's many a day. Initially, when I did it, it brought out everything. When I
Hmm.
initially did the work, it's like, oh my God, I had no idea. I had stuffed all this stuff underneath the rug. Now, I'll speak of it in the present tense right now. Now it's like there's a responsibility involved with this. My
Hmm.
soul, the universe, my soul in particular, it only shows me so much of what I can handle on a daily basis.
Hmm.
It's not like everything just shows up on this big radar screen. I've caught glimpses of it. I've caught some deeper stuff that's like, you got to be kidding me.
Okay.
And so there is images.
Uh-huh.
Many years ago, I used to be very auditory. It's changed
Okay.
now a bit. Now more very, very tactile. So whatever I sense, whatever I feel, it's dialed in. So the feeling of it is there. Now, when I start working with a person, then the information starts to flow very, very nicely. Now, the feeling. So it's like in the movie The Matrix,
Hmm.
Neo was presented, here's the red pill or the blue pill. Now, when you take the blue pill, you show up the next day and you continue resuming life like nothing ever happened. The
Yeah.
moment when I took that red pill, I'm using this as an example,
Uh-huh.
everything changed. That's we all the way I would describe it. It's like we have a suit around us, an energetic
Hmm.
suit.
Hmm.
But the moment when it's opened up, then we feel and sense everything.
Wow.
You sense and feel everything. You can feel.
Like
You can
this
walk
big.
Yeah, so
This
you can walk
big.
into a room and you can sense or feel who's happy, who's not happy, who's healthy, who's sick, what's going on,
Sometimes I
what's
get these feelings. Sometimes I get these feelings. I didn't know it was something related to that.
this is very, 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 very real. This is one of your many gifts. So for
Hmm.
me, uh, it's quite a privilege. I will leave it like that because I got very, very lucky that the mentor or the teacher that showed me all this, I went all out with it. So
Hmm.
it's a process. When
Yes.
I got into this, my destiny also is a 33-6. I was born April 5th, 1977.
Okay.
Now, when I got into this, as I said, we have small souls, we have the bigger ones.
Hmm.
You have got the granddaddy
Oh,
All type soul contracts is the most difficult to handle.
okay.
When I got into this, and initially I was 300 to 400% deeper in the mess, and then I met the right person energetically at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm getting a download here. With whatever, or whoever is doing this type of work,
Mm-hmm.
you want to make sure that at one point, whoever you're doing the work with, you're at the same soul level or deeper with whoever you're doing the work with in order to clean up the mess. Otherwise, you'll never get out of it.
Yeah.
So you've come through, you've had some experiences. What's being asked of you is whatever wasn't expressed properly, write it out.
Oh, I do right.
And especially because maybe your gift in what you're doing, but when the tears come out, this is what you need to. This is the tears and the emotional stuff. This is, I'm not saying with you that I'm using me as the example of this.
Mm-hmm.
This is what screws up most of humanity with this, because that emotional jam, that emotional resistance, this is what gets people stuck with their beliefs, their programming, their resistance. Whereas not as I said, whereas a human soul. From the soul's perspective, when we show up here, the soul's asking, do the soul a favor and clean up all the mess. And for many of us, I use me as an example. I was born here in Canada, but my parents immigrated from Germany and from Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Two different backgrounds, two different
Yes.
ethnicities, two
Mm-hmm.
different ways of thinking, and two old master numbers that were stuck. Now when they come around, they're going to have 3 other kids. So they pass all this information genetically through the kids. And then at one point, when this information started to resonate with me, it's like, I can't go back. I have to keep moving with this.
Mm.
And it's been 13 years now.
Wow.
Keep going forward with this. It's simply to educate and to inspire others, because this is where we're going with this. And it's the women that the universe is now fully supporting with this.
Okay.
So the
That's
women
right.
have a mixed amount of responsibility. So the feeling with this is at times it's indescribable. It's like when you feel that it's like there's highs, there's lows with it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going through the valley. Sometimes you're at the bottom and sometimes you're up at the top. The high points, when you're up there, it is unfrequently supernatural, if you want to leave it like that.
Wow.
I mean, it's just like, wow, cloud 9, cloud 10, cloud 11, and beyond.
Yeah.
And it's an indescribable feeling, because everything sits back with a feeling. For
It's
most of us,
just like this. It's just there.
it's a
And when you
feeling.
are not, and nothing is there, that like in Upanishads we have a story. A sage tells his disciple that when you are describing yourself, so it's like not this, not this. So you set aside everything away, and then what you stand with as yourself in the moment, and with not you even existing, just a consciousness of being there. I don't know how to say that.
I want to add to that.
Mhm.
This thing up here, the subconscious, the new energy, and where things are going to go from this. The message, please don't shoot the messenger, but the message that's coming through with this is, for those that wish to evolve, for those that wish, humanity is going in 2 different directions right now.
Huh.
For those that they don't wish to grow up, if those that they wish to stay doing with whatever they're doing, they're going to remain in this 3rd dimensional timeline.
Okay.
There's an energy with that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using me as the example that at one point, the pressure of it, the stress of it, and all the other, I'll say, garbage that was with it at one point, I said, this isn't worth it anymore. Not when it all cost me 5 near-death experiences.
Wow.
And basically 0 acknowledgement, other than the high expectations with it. When I stepped into the 5D, this required personal responsibility, personal ownership. And I had to go inside here and I had to really clean everything up. So it's like I had to go back to
Takes
where's
a
this
lot.
feeling coming from?
Yeah.
Where's it coming from me? Who gave me the toughest of feeling? I had to unplug that. And wherever it's coming from, I had to unplug it from the source and then putting it into the field. Then with the universe, some of the spiritual guides, they clean up all this, they assist us, but it's me that has to take the responsibility of it. At a certain point, this thing becomes empty. So when I
Yes.
go to bed at night, it takes me 10 or 15 seconds and I'm out. There's no
Mm.
thoughts, but I went through a lot of grueling tests, and I'm one very, very persistent person,
Mm-hmm.
and it's earning the trust. But in the short of it, we're all here to redeem ourselves back into the arms of the universe. Because the universe and our soul, they're saying, congratulations if a person's gone to school.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations for the nice home.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations for the nice car. But what the soul cares about, what's the integrity in the person's heart? What is the person thinking about?
Yeah.
This is what the universe, the soul, the creator, they're all watching us from the other side with us.
Wow.
They're watching everything. So
No
I just
words to.
really
Yeah.
want to share that. And it's not like it takes a lifetime with this. It does take a decision. And you mentioned earlier about the intuition, testing your intuition. And I'll
Yeah.
use this as an example with this, that
Mm-hmm.
the more that a person really goes inside and they take a step back in their personal life and they start cleaning everything up, a person's intuition, my intuition started to skyrocket. And
Okay.
everything started to open up because it's all the negative feelings like got buried. They turn into like black clouds in front of our eyes. But the moment energetically, this is not the Reiki type work where a person
Okay.
goes on the table and the Reiki practitioner puts the hands over it. That's
Those
obsolete.
are rituals,
That's
I would
obsolete.
say. I don't know Reiki. I have never done Reiki, but still, anything that we do in the physical world is a ritual.
Uh, yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say yes to it. Unfortunately, I'll use me as the example with this.
Okay.
I was born to the Roman Catholic system.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, oh boy, oh boy, the
Mm-hmm.
spiritual women are going to have a heyday when they find, well, they're already aware of it. It's probably one of the most evil, most corrupt places on this earth.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it's been cleaned out. I'll leave it like that. It's not what everyone thinks it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I shared from that point of view or from that perspective because the new 5D, it's going to hold each and every one of us accountable and for finding out the truth inside of us, the ugly truth that no one wants to talk about, that no one wants to think about or look at. But this is where it's going.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to force everyone at one point on their knees, especially. I'll use another positive example that what's happening in the United States of America right now, it's up in the forefront.
Yeah.
And with the commander in chief in place now, it's
Mm-hmm.
simply him that he's there as the face of it. But worldwide, the old systems collapsed.
Yes.
And for everything, I like people to have an open mind with this, an open mind, please, because humanity is going through a massive, massive, massive shift. And unfortunately, I'm sharing this. The other past civilizations from
Mm-hmm.
many, many cultures, Atlantis, I have some of that in with me with this. Their downfall for them was their heart. When they had a corrupted heart, and it's the emotional energy on the inside. It's like you're in New York. So for any skyscraper, let's say if a skyscraper is 500 or 1,000 feet tall, everyone likes being in that penthouse.
Yes.
Everyone likes popping the bottle of champagne, having a good time, enjoying the view and the sight. And what's going to happen on the 5D is when anyone's foundation on the inside, with the foundation is 300 or 400% deeper in the ground, in the 5D, this is where it's going to start. When it starts to crack, if it's rotten, if it's not solid, if you're in the penthouse, it may be time to start stepping out, coming back down, Go back
Exactly.
from the inside and clean everything up from the foundation, because this is an ugly truth that a lot of people are going to have a tough time dealing with.
That's true. That's very much true. And we are already running out of time.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be 30 minutes. We are at 35. So that doesn't matter. But the thing is that it was so good to talk to you today. People do talk about this world, and they do talk about how they have made their progress in the world, in terms of money, relationships, and
Yes.
all
But I'm
that thing.
getting
But
that. Yeah.
yeah, but it's very difficult to develop a relationship with yourself and go from there and start building the relationship with the cosmos, right? So
Start with what's down here. It's a
yeah, with
process.
myself to the
Hallelujah, man.
cosmos. Yeah, my
Start with
myself means
that.
everybody's self. So from this self to the cosmos and beyond, whatever. So I don't know. So thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome,
And
Farm.
thank you so much. So next week we will be here again. I'll be here with another guest with another talk. And till then, bye.
Thank you.
Give me a second.